Very funny young man who will be appearing at the Sahara Hotel in Lake Tahoe with Crystal Gale, March the 18th through the 23rd. And this Sunday, he'll be at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermoso Beach, California. Please welcome a very funny man, George Miller.
Thank you very much. People ask you questions if you're a comic. They want to know about your relatives sometimes. Are your relatives funny? My relatives were always kind of strange. I remember when I was real little, if my dad got mad at me, he'd always threaten me by taking off his belt. That always caused his pants to fall down, and then his dad would come in and spank him. My brother is a guy, let me put this nicely, he's the family creep. And I can say this because everybody here tonight, you all have a family creep. Perhaps some of you are the family creep. My brother's an inept doctor. He cheated his way through medical school. The guy is really a quack. One time this patient came to him. He had these yellow stains on the ends of his fingers. My brother diagnosed it as a rare form of jaundice. They found out later the guy had been eating Cheetos. And I had to go to his hospital once a couple years ago. I was in a car mishap, kind of a low-budget hospital. And first of all, they put me on Demerol for painkiller. You ever get that, Demerol? That's a drug which actually makes you glad you had the accident. It was terrible. They didn't have very good equipment. They didn't even have anything to take my temperature with. The doctor had to use his wife's meat thermometer. It was really strange. I didn't mind taking off all my clothes, but getting into that little pan was embarrassing. Another thing, comics, they're always irritable. Everything bothers them. With me, I don't like people who are money hungry. Like I'm in a restaurant yesterday, the waiter came over. He wanted to make sure I knew about the tipping procedure, see? And he says to me, he says, be sure to leave 15 or 20%. Oh, no, I eat everything on my plate. I don't like to get heckled. One time I'm bopping along pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Guy right in the front row. Shut up, you're not funny. Why don't you shut up? So I said, why don't you shut up yourself? So then everyone thought it was rehearsed. They said, nobody can think that fast. I hate looking for a regular job. When I apply for a regular job, I'll say anything to get it. I lie about my qualifications. I don't care. Are you bilingual? Oh, sure, I do it with anybody. And I always check the help wanted section because I like the stupid advertisements the employers always put in the newspapers. We're looking for a self-starter. Self-starter? I always picture some guy walking around with a key in his butt. Thank you. Had a lot of regular jobs. I was working here at NBC for a long time in the mailroom, sorting the mail from 9 to 5. Found out there was a lot of fooling around going on. If a guy was a good lover, the girls would call him a 10-center. Say, Larry's a 10-center, oh, yeah? If the guy was really good, they referred to him as a 13-center or air mail. You have any idea what it feels like to be known as postage due? Comics always have a tough time with women. I'll tell you about all the different women I've met since I've been in show business. This will just take a second. I noticed one comic, he is so hostile toward women, I don't know if it's a revenge thing or what. He is so deliberately nasty. One time he took out a cross-eyed girl and bought her a whole bunch of drinks just so he could keep saying, here's looking at you, kid. Blind dates are not too easy either. I had a blind date recently. I want to tell you about this. And ladies, don't get mad and think I'm a male chauvinist, because I'm not, but she was awful looking and had a terrible disposition. It was a package deal. You know that thing? So I go over to her house, right, and she opened a door, and she had the widest mouth of anybody I've ever seen, and I always managed to say the wrong thing. She said, well, what are we going to do tonight? I said, well, let's do something you like to do. Why don't we go bob for watermelons? More applause. Strangest blind date I ever had was with a very wealthy lady of the evening in Beverly Hills, see? And I should have known, because I'd read this book. It said your car reflects your personality. And I got over there, and the first thing I saw, there was this Rolls Royce out in the driveway parked on its back. So I should have... I'm not too hip on cars either. One time there's a real attractive young lady right here. See, she can't get her car started. We were in this parking lot. So I wanted to meet her, so I decided to fake it to get her introduction. So I went over to her and I said the same thing to her that everybody says to me when I can't get my car started. Well, you flooded it. Yep, it's flooded, all right. Are you sure? Listen, I know about cars, I'm telling you. All 4 of your tires are flooded. Women will drive you up the wall, even if you like them or love them. I went with the same one 3.5 years. Swear to God, never failed 3.5 years. Every time I took her out to a restaurant, she would always pull the same old trick. Well, I want to eat too. Boy, I just hate that.
Very, very, very funny. Terrific. We got to take a little break, then we're going to talk some. Right, you too. Be back right after this.
Very sick people right in this section. And another thing is that sometimes you will meet an unescorted female at one of these nightclubs. Now, a couple months ago, boy, it was terrible. I bombed. I was in the back looking all dejected. This lady came over to me. I'd never seen her before, right? She says, well, why don't we go over to my place? I get really lonely at night. I thought, well, it's the old subtle approach, you know. So, yeah, so I go over there, see, but romantically it was unsatisfactory for her because I was too quick. Common male problem, too quick, yeah. Boy, when she had just started to moan, I was at Denny's ordering a waffle. Not a pretty story, but one that needed to be told. In comics, one more thing I should tell you is comics always overreact. Like when I left my hometown, Seattle, I'd been told by my parents there's a very large gay community down there, right? First day I'm in town, I'm in a restaurant, there's a guy right here kind of giving me the eye. I thought, well, maybe he's like that, you know. I overreacted. And I thought, well, if he says anything, I'm not going to waste any time. I'll come right out and ask. So I'm chewing and he's looking and I'm chewing and he's looking. And finally he says, say, would you please pass me the salt? I said, yeah, here you go. Are you gay? He said, no. Do they use a lot of salt?
Tonight's show will continue right after this message, folks. George Miller is with us this evening. You look terrific.